Welcome everyone to a new series where I take a look at world champions of the past. I had you guys vote on my channel and it came to the conclusion that we're going to start at the beginning and we will start with Steinitz. However, before we get into that, I would like to let you know that this video is sponsored by openingtrainer.com. This is a video that I have done and they specialize in openings and end games, and you can go to the website openingtrainer.com and you can add positions and then you can work through your openings on those. So I urge you to check that out. Please take a look at that and let's get into the video. Okay. Oh, sorry, I was a little bit further into the game. This is Steinitz. We are following move by move. Actually, okay. If you guys have this book, this is the book we're going to be going through for the foreseeable future. I want to take a look at a lot of his games. There's probably about 35. It looks like there's 35, 36 games in this book. So I'd like to go through all of them and let's learn about Steinitz together. So, game 1. Let's take a look. I probably could put... That says game 18. Oh no, let's change that. Game 1. And this game was played back in 1859 in Vienna against Karl Hampe or Hampe. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name correctly, but correct me if I'm wrong. Some of you guys might be a better historian than me. But this was between Karl Hampe and Wilhelm Steinitz, or Wilhelm Steinitz. It was played in Vienna, 1859, and let's get into the game. So, the game starts. Karl plays. Karl is white and Steinitz is black. Just for you, so you know. For the future in the series, if I don't mention it, I like to put the person that we are looking at from their point of view on the bottom. I know some other people don't necessarily like doing that, but I do that because I enjoy that. So I guess it's personal preference, totally up to you. Okay, so this game starts with e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, and we get a Vienna gambit with f4. Steinitz responds with d5, e takes d5, and knight takes d5. Now, we could also see d3 here, and we could also see f takes d, and then knight takes d. Those are both some variations that are pretty common. Okay. Let's kick off of that. There we go. But e takes d5 was played, and knight takes d5. And f takes e5. Another option could have been queen to h4 check. Ooh, it's getting spicy. G3, knight takes, pawn takes queen, knight takes queen, king takes d1. And now we have this really interesting position where a number of things could be played. So knight c6, bishop g4, and bishop e7 are all potential variations. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have a very interesting position to play from if you decide to play a Vienna gambit and you see this line. Let's go back. Instead, Steinitz played knight takes c3, attacking the queen, b takes c3, and if we take a look at the position right now and we note how things are, black's pawn structure is very awesome. It's very solid. There's no weaknesses. And white's is really kind of I wouldn't say tatters, but it's a little disjointed. There's 3 pawn islands, and there's going to be some permanent weaknesses. So if white ever plays d4, the c pawn is going to be quite weak. So even though it looks like you might be able to get a very strong center with these 3 pawns here, it's not as strong as you might think because this would be a potential weakness for Steinitz to attack. Instead, we have some pretty open lines. We have, the bishops that can slicing through. White has the same thing, at least with one of them. And the queen has the potential for coming out, which we're going to see in the next move. So queen to h4 check, king to e2, and we get this like super delayed bomb cloud type of situation. And this is already looking very difficult for white. How are you going to deal with this? And we're just in all kinds of trouble here. Look at this. Bishop to g4 check. Obviously, knight to f3. The king really doesn't have many squares. It could move here or here, but moving the king up the board is that's just such a bad idea. So we don't want to do that. So developing a piece is good. And maybe if we're lucky, we can get the king to tuck away back here if we were white, but that's not until we take care of how the queen is being handled. So some of you might be screaming out, oh, take the queen, take the queen. You can't. We're pinned. The knight has nowhere to go because the king would be under attack. We can't do that. d4, white tries to get the strong center and tries to open some lines for his bishop for maybe some defense. We get castle's queenside, bishop to d2. Instead of e3, we went to d2. Not too bad. Steinitz decides that it's time to take. And now the king is in a really tough spot. There's only a queen attacking right now, so we have to be careful. You can't really attack with only one piece, so Steinitz has to bring some other pieces into the fold. Let's see how he does it. Knight takes e5, sacrificing a piece. Oh, wow. So he also could have done this here, and then we get this variation. And the king is wide open. We have the rooks potentially coming in. Things are rough. Knight to e5, knight takes e5, and d takes e5. Steinitz continues with bishop to c5. We have a mate threat. Karl decides to stop that with queen to e1. Very good move. Queen to c4, check. King to d1, and now it might appear as though the king made it kind of to safety, but it's still in the middle of the board. No castling. And how is white going to be able to deal with this? White takes c3. Sorry, queen takes c3. He cannot take because it is pinned by the rook. Rook to b1, trying to get some activity and maybe coming here, but we can't do that because the queen here, we have to keep the rook down there. Queen takes f3 check. Queen to e2. Please trade my queen off. Please, please. We know that's not going to happen because we see exactly the move that's coming. Oh, we don't see the move that's coming. That's a potential option, but Steinitz went for something different. Rook takes d2, a devastating blow because the queen can't take. The king can take, but then the rook's going to come in and the bishop's coming in and bad things are happening. So rook takes, or king takes d2, the only move. If you move, you're going to pick up the queen. So you have to take the rook. Rook to d8, like I mentioned. King back to c1 and bishop to a3, just like I had mentioned. And the king is in a lot of trouble. There's not a lot left in this game. Can you guys kind of see? Pause the video, try to figure out the next few moves. It's checkmate in 5 moves, approximately. Yeah, 5 moves. So it's very difficult to figure out because there's a lot of options, but let's take a look and see how it ended. Rook to b2, stopping that. Queen to c3, doubling up on that rook. The rook can't be moved and it can't be defended. Bishop h3 check. King has to move. You could try to block it, but then en passant, and you have a discovered check. We don't want that. Rook to b8, or sorry, king to b8, queen to b5, protecting, but then queen to d2 coming in. And now we get the next mate into. Can you see the moves? Pause the video, try to figure it out for yourself. Queen to d1 check, rook takes, and rook takes d1 checkmate. What a wonderful game from Steinitz. He just kept taking pieces, and the notes in this game were that Hampy had a lot of trouble getting together playing his Vienna Gambit because his king was stuck out in the open. He couldn't get castled. That's why we like king safety. All right, if you like this video, please like and share. It helps me out, shows your support, and I look forward to taking a look at more of these videos of Steinitz and his life. We'll talk about some of the things that are discussed in the book in greater detail in other games. But thanks for watching, and have a great day.